It had to happen eventually. That generation of stay-at-home kids has finally grown up and flown the coop. I first met these coddled 20 and 30-somethings 5 years ago. Back then, they were sleeping in their childhood bedrooms, letting their parents pay the bills and stashing away money for a future that never seemed to arrive. Well, it has now. And their mums and dads couldn't be more pleased, most of them anyway. They're celebrating, happily spending their hard-earned savings on something completely different, themselves. After 30 years of marriage, Marg and John Galley finally have the freedom to indulge the passions they put on the back burner to raise their kids.
Helen, you won't wear me out.
I feel like we've become closer, and I feel even more closer now they've left, because it's just us. It's so nice. And, you know, now I said we can start having a date night. But, I mean, every night's date night for us now, because no one's here.
Yeah, but I find it so hard to find a date.
Oh! I don't want that in my kitchen. Get rid of it.
5 years ago, when we first met Marg and John, they were telling a vastly different story.
See? Maggie's kitchen.
With their 23-year-old son David still under their feet, they felt the frustration of many parents whose adult offspring find the free food and board of the family home too good to give up.
Is that what we're going to have for dinner?
Yeah.
When do you think you will move out?
I'd like to say soon, but I just don't know.
So, here we are at Dave's new place. But you've got to take in the bread and milk because, of course, they can't buy that for themselves. Mum has to bring
In something of a social experiment on Australia's changing home life, we've come back 5 years later to find David has only just moved out of home.
Oh, it looks really nice. Let's see, what have you got in your fridge? Oh, my God, you've got nothing in there.
That's why I needed milk.
It's got alcohol and nothing else.
And he's obviously still adjusting to life without Mum. Are you happy here?
Yeah, I love it.
In your own castle?
Yeah, we love it. Yeah, it's good. Good to have some freedom. Nice the bills still weren't coming in. That'd be nice if Mum and Dad still fixed them.
Yeah. Dream on, dream on. Those days are over.
I like it. Another night with your mother and father?
I'm here too.
In homes all over the country, the phenomenon of Gen Y kids who won't leave is being replaced by the empty nest. When we met Susie and Peter Rogers Wilson in 2006, they were revelling in the happy chaos of 3 grown-up kids under the family roof.
Have you heard of the phrase KIPPERS? Kids in parents' pockets eroding retirement savings.
No, but I like it.
But a year ago, the last kipper left the family fold.
Listen.
No
Silence.
noise.
Silence.
The sounds of silence.
How are you coping?
Pretty well, really.
I'd say really well, yeah.
So how would you describe life now compared to when I saw you 5 years ago?
Not as hectic, certainly.
Thank you.
These days, it's tea for 2 and a lot of spare time.
Now you were going to get into the bread making, Dale.
Time some couples can't wait to spend, but others find hard to fill.
You went from a house full of adults
Yes.
to just you two.
Yes. Well,
That's a big transition.
It doesn't seem that we're alone.
We get on reasonably well.
Yeah, that's right. But it is, I must say, if we were just alone by ourselves all of the time, I'd go crazy. Well, I mean...
You go crazy with
no,
Peter, or
no
you...
offence, but... well, I mean, you need more to do.
I reckon that you really should be getting a boat and getting out and catching a few flatties.
It was always going to occur. Generation Y could never stay in the family home forever. There comes a point where it's just not cool to live with mum and dad.
But social demographer Bernard Salt warns an empty nest can sometimes reveal problems that may have been ignored in a busy household.
For the better part of 20 to 25 years, baby boomers' total focus has been on their kids, and all of a sudden the kids are not there. Now, this can expose cracks, fractures if you like, in relationships.
You go to work, you come home, and then you dread the thought of going home, because what are we going to do when it's just the two of us? and we work together. What are we going to talk about when we get home? Oh, they're nice eggs.
We've got to organise that cake for Cheryl's surprise too.
I'll do that. So.
Married at 21, Deb and Ralph Silver are learning to be a couple again after a lifetime devoted to their kids. Since their son Jesse and daughter Jade left home, they've struggled to adjust.
We're all around each other the whole time, and then when they move out, you grieve. It's a sense of loss. It's like someone's died. Someone really close to you has died, and you just you exist without really living it.
How about you, Deb?
Yeah, it is emotional. Like, yeah, it's very emotional. You watch them grow up, and you know, it's yeah. It is. Sorry.
It was after 24-year-old daughter Jade's wedding that Ralph and Deb realised just how dependent they'd become on their kids.
I was sitting there and I was actually crying. And I just thought, what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? It hit me that quick.
And it was that emotional for you?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Sobbing?
Yeah. Certainly going to miss this room, Debbie.
We are.
The party room.
We are.
Like many empty nesters who suddenly find themselves rattling around a big house, Ralph and Deb also face the emotional upheaval of selling the family home. With the kids gone, their acre of land, tennis court, gazebo, cinema and disco room had lost their shine.
It was depressing. We'd come home from work into that house, and while the kids were there, it was beautiful. But these days, the silence was deafening, and it was. It was cold, depressing.
You didn't bring the mirror ball.
No. Yeah, that's another... It was a big thing to leave behind.
Yeah.
Not as big as the kids, I hope, though, Ralph.
Oh, it's up there.
But over at Marg and John's place...
That's so nice.
No interruptions.
The kids are out of sight and out of mind.
Now, you know I only wore my cosy because we were on the telly.
Now that they're home alone, they're making up for all that lost time in their relationship.
I want my life back. I want to be just me and hubby again and make love in my lounge room if I want to and come naked to my fridge to get a drink, which I haven't been able to do for 23 years.
Is that happening?
Oh, God, yeah, all the time. I mean, why do you have to wear clothes when there's no one here? You're wanting to know what the sex is like, Peter. It's really good.
That wasn't the question I was going to ask.
You can make as much noise as you like. No one can hear you. Or maybe the neighbours.
You have to then reinvent yourself or focus then on the two of you and rekindle what was there. I mean, there's love, there's definite love there for all those years, but it's secondary to the love for your kids.
So how's the rekindling going, Ralph?
Well, the candle flickers.
I've got a nice sausage for you.
Susie and Peter still like to host a full house.
It's another morning.
But these days they know the kids won't be staying.
I mean, I love my own space, but I love it when it's invaded, and then I can appreciate it when they all go again.
Joe's married with a little daughter, Poppy.
Oh, hot, hot.
Lucy's engaged to Dan.
Girl, smell that sauce with mango.
And Tim's married to Sal with 2-year-old Matilda.
They're very hot, aren't they?
Bit hot?
No.
A far cry from the night Sal used to have sleepovers in Tim's childhood bedroom.
What about the sex?
The sex?
Living under your mum and dad's roof and you've got a girlfriend.
Peter. Peter, you're stepping over the line. Peter, put your manners back in.
I've heard that before.
Oh, well, I've heard that before too. Oh, yeah, I got ribbings for that. Oh, just for the whole thing, really. But no, but you know, it obviously happened because I've got a baby daughter now, so it's a part of life, though, isn't it, Pete?
You hope so.
Which roof was it under?
Good question. No, I might just not. Let's not go there.
Going very fast?
Hey?
Baby boomers like Susie and Peter, who've devoted so much of their lives to being parents, often continue that support as grandparents.
It's just awesome that Mum and Dad adore being involved with the grandchildren, and we couldn't do it without them, and I think it's great for them.
Round and round the garden.
But there'll come a day when finally someone will look after them. And 5 years ago, the kids made that promise.
They care for you. Will you care for them in their old age?
Oh, God, yes. I think that's my job.
Would you let them move into your house?
Sure.
So, what about now?
I can't believe I got nailed for this on national television last time. I still stand by that, though.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are really, really good people.
Jo, can Mum and Dad come and live with you?
Absolutely. If they need to be looked after, then we're absolutely there.
Tim?
I think I'd pay for a home. Nah, jokes, of course. You know, if worst comes to worst.
Oh, there you are, Mother. More work for you.
Ralph and Deb don't have grandchildren yet, but they do have Ralph's mum, who's moved in with them at their new place, which makes them part of yet another social phenomenon, the sandwich generation, who go from caring for grown-up kids
Glad to be of assistance, Mum.
to ageing
Yell
parents.
out if you need any more help.
But it sounds like you, in all seriousness, have balanced up, or at least added something to, a pretty lonely household.
That's right, and I was lonely too because I was in a unit.
Now the kids have gone, you've plugged a hole.
Yes. We haven't had any arguments yet.
It's coming.
Give her a cuddle. Are you nervous, Jade?
Yes, very.
Look how young they are.
I know. How quick they grow.
But even with Faye to do the washing and all that time on their hands, Ralph and Deb sometimes yearn for the good old days when their nest wasn't quite so empty.
Enjoy it because it doesn't last. It's gone before you know it.
Proposal is that we fly into Banff.
John and Susie, on the other hand, are spending their extra time like many baby boomers, finding ways to spend the kids' inheritance.
So you're now skiers, spending the kids' inheritance.
My eyes. Yeah, right into that.
Absolutely.
And he's just spending the kids' inheritance on lots of overseas trips. Whee!
Baby boomers are all talk. They talk about spending the kids' inheritance and running away from the kids and all that sort of thing. That's just chest beating. These people love their kids and love their kids to a fault, I would say.
It's what you step in the bridge.
Our experiment has proven one thing. As Gen Y finally leaves the nest and heads out into the big wide world, both generations are having to make adjustments, some more than others.
It sounds like you have the perfect empty nest.
We do. We do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very good.
Oh, we haven't got rid of the dog. That's a bummer. That was the worst thing when they moved out. They didn't take the dog. God.